The following video is brought to you by Consequentialists. According to David Benatar, sexual equality occurs when no unfair disadvantages are given to a person on the basis of their sex. Unfortunately, there are instances in our society where sexual equality is absent, most notably the workforce. The average annual pay for men far exceeds the average annual pay for women across all occupational fields. Drawing on the principles of consequentialism, we will argue that the most important change our society needs to make to bring about sexual equality is to close the pay gap that exists between men and women. In this video, we will explain why equalizing pay is most important. We will present how we plan to enact this change and address all possible consequences of the plan to show that its benefits far outweigh its costs.
When we searched for images on the Google using the keyword teacher, this was our result. Woman, 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 a man. Woman, 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 woman. When we Google searched images using the keyword engineer, this is what we found. Man, man, manly, manly, man, 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 manly, manly, man, 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 manly, manly, man, woman.
Clearly, some careers are female-dominated and some are male-dominated. For the purpose of this video, we will be focusing on teacher and engineer occupations that are dominated by women and men, respectively. The divide in these two occupations between men and women is because the sexes have different interests. According to a study conducted by the University of Pittsburgh, women have a tendency to seek jobs that fit their biological interest in caregiving and nurturing. This is why about 76% of all public school teachers are female. Similarly, in a study published by the International Journal of Sociology, it was determined that men have a tendency to seek jobs that match their interests of problem solving, math and science skills, and physical demand, whether this be heavy lifting such as at a construction site or working long hours for a corporation. This is why about 88% of all American engineers are men.
What does this mean in terms of sexual equality?
Society does not value the difference in interests between men and women to the same degree. These charts represent the annual incomes of engineers and the annual incomes of teachers. Male-dominated professions make more money than female-dominated professions because society has placed a higher value on a man's interests. How is this disadvantage sex-based and not occupational-based? Well, most teachers are women, so even if the disadvantage was not intended to be based on sex, it is. Even compared to teachers who are men, women still make less in their field.
The pay gap is the clearest example of sexual inequality in our society and is therefore the most important change that must be made.
We suggest that the income gap between professions be altered so that pay is equal between the sexes. The average gap between the pay of women and men in the fields of teaching and engineering is about $17,000. In order to promote equality, we believe that we should split the difference. By this, we propose that an increase of $8,500 be made to all female teachers in order to make up for the gap between the pay of female teachers and male engineers. With that being said, we also believe that the pay of engineers should be decreased by $8,500 for the sake of equality.
These numbers are arbitrary. Salaries should be based on the percentage of men or women in that field. Fields traditionally dominated by women should have salaries equal to their male counterparts. For example, if 80% of workers in a field are male and 80% of workers in a different field are women, all these workers should receive the same salary.
Sharing a consequentialist view, we believe that pay should be equal between men and women because the equal distribution will reap positive benefits. Offering the same pay scale for both sexes could prevent such things as legal problems within a company, the burden on men that causes them to work longer hours on a job than women, which consequently allows them to spend less time than they would like to with their families. And it could also allow women to earn a higher income that will help them better support their families, especially in the cases of single-parent households where the only parent is the mother. It will also rid women of feeling that they are less valuable in society than men are.
If such pay equality is reached, there can also be some costs that come with it. For instance, men are obviously discriminated against since their pay will be lessened so that more women-oriented jobs will be equal to theirs. Also, jobs that focus on the men are now less likely to be chosen because their pay is less, which is a big draw for why people would want to do those jobs. It also will be equal to a more socialistic system, and true equality may still not be reached within each job area. While the gender job areas may be closer, inside each area of the job, there may still be some differences between male and female pay.
The 2009 census by the U.S. government showed that there were 4.7 million science and engineers in the workforce, while there were over 7.2 million teachers all across schools in America. This shows that more teachers will benefit than science and engineer workers will suffer. Lastly, happiness is maximized.
To live in a completely sexually equal society, men and women and their respective interests must be valued equally. The clearest inequality that exists between men and women is how they are financially compensated for pursuing careers that fit their interests. Even though consequences would arise that would be seen as negative, such as lowering pay for men and creating a less diverse job field, creating equality between men and women's income would maximize the happiness of society by creating a greater number of active and self-sustainable members. Closing the pay gap promotes sexual equality and strengthens society.